Welcome to this tutorial on adding citations to Zotero by uploading files. So Zotero will try to scrape the metadata from a file if you've already downloaded it, typically as a PDF. Metadata is data that provides information about other data. So behind the scenes on files, you have kind of tags and other information that includes things like an author, a date, a title, a DOI. On photos, there could be like a geolocation or a timestamp. But Zotero is more interested in bibliographic metadata. So again, author, date, title, those kinds of things. Adding citations this way works best for scholarly journal articles because that metadata is mostly correct and complete on those. But for other types of files, it does not work, especially without some major editing. So it is always good to double check that the information is correct, whether you are importing a journal article this way or you are uploading another type of file. And we're going to see some examples of why this is really important here. Okay, so I am in my Zotero library here. I have created a new sublibrary called Adding Files just for this demonstration here. And I'm going to open up my downloads folder on my computer and I'm going to grab a couple of PDFs here. And I'm just going to drag and drop so you can do multiple files at once. And both of these were journal articles. So you'll see this one, first one up at the top, is coming from a journal called Science Advances. You'll notice that both of these entries have a child PDF, so that is attached. So I would be able to go in and open this up and do note-taking and annotations with this. But on the metadata and the bibliographic information about these journal titles, it's always a good idea to make sure that things are coming in correctly. So check to see if the title is in sentence case, count the number of authors, see if the publication, the page numbers or article numbers, any things like the DOI or URL also is coming in correctly. Did the abstract come in? Are there any tags and notes that are coming in that you may not necessarily need? So I would suggest going back and forth between the PDF that you have already downloaded as well as the information that was processed by Zotero. So going back and forth, double checking to make sure that everything is okay on both of these articles. So again, we've got title, it came in incorrectly. We've got 3 authors and an editor. So that's interesting. So let's see. We have 3 authors. I don't necessarily know where that editor, oh, here's the editor. It's coming in here. I'm not sure if we'd actually need that on a citation, so I definitely need to double check, but on the suggested citation here, it's not including him. So I'd actually probably delete his name off here. But again, it looks like everything pretty much came in correctly on this. So journal articles usually work pretty well, but let's take a look at some other information sources here. So I'm going to grab a newspaper article that I have as a PDF here and pull that in. With other types of articles, this does not work as well. So first off, we notice that the type of source here is incorrect. So it says journal article. It should be a newspaper article. Did bring in the author, but the name is weird. So I'm going to actually have to go in and make sure that that is not repeated there. So that's just me noticing a couple of things right off the bat. If I go back into the actual PDF that I have though, okay, so I've got the title there. I can see why the name was repeated. And if I scroll down on the PDF, I can see more information. So for whatever reason, Zotero did not grab that this was coming from the Washington Post. It didn't grab that the publication date was here. So I'm going to go back and forth between this to again get most of the information that I needed to pull this up. I didn't see things like pages. I didn't see things like a DOI. I did see a URL, but most citation manuals don't want a link that has a library proxy in it, so I might have to really work with this a little bit. So I'm going to copy link and pop that in here, and then just so that I can go ahead and take out that information. Okay. So again, I do have to do a little bit of work to get this to look correctly. Let's take a look at another newspaper article that came in. So this one, it came in, but you'll notice that Zotero was not able to scrape any information off of this. So you'll note, so it came in, it just has this little PDF icon. It kind of lives as its own thing. It's not attached to citation information. So what I'm going to have to do with this one is I'm going to have to right click on the item and then go down and create a parent item, right? So basically we want a citation entry as the parent item. And if I'm able to, I can go ahead and put in a DOI or an ISBN or something. But in this case, because this particular article does not have any of these identifiers, I'm going to have to do a manual entry. So right now it comes in as item type document. We're going to change that to a newspaper article. I'm going to need to do a couple of back and forth kind of copy and pasting here between the titles and everything else. I'm not seeing an actual kind of byline for a person at all, so I might go ahead, grab the publication title instead. Make sure I grab the date here. And again, because I don't see a DOI or anything, I will go ahead and grab that URL, then have to do some work by taking out the proxy. If I know what I'm looking for, I can actually do this pretty quickly, but if I am not really cognizant or comfortable with doing it, the better way to grab this kind of information is not to actually upload. Instead, I would go back to where I found it. So in this case, I found both of these on Quick Search, though I could actually go to the ProQuest, the full database, and do this as well. But in order to grab both of these, I would actually go ahead and use the export RIS function in order to do this, or possibly try to use the Zotero connector if I'm on the database itself. So this is the new one that just came in. It came in as a web page, but it did grab a lot more information than me kind of putting in the information myself. Similarly, there are going to be other types of files. So this is a report that I grabbed from the Pew Research Center. I'm going to go ahead and pull that in there as well. It does try to tell me what it is, but again, it came in as a journal article, and this is actually going to be a report. It grabbed the authors pretty well, which I can check by going back and forth in between. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 are there. Again, it didn't grab the institution though. So this is the Pew Research Center. It didn't grab a date or an ISBN or DOI or anything else like that. So I am going to kind of need to look into this. So this is June 2006. But instead of doing all of this work going back and forth between the PDF, I might actually just want to go back onto the site where I found this and use something like the Zotero connector, that browser extension, to go ahead and add this into my library here. It will require a little bit of cleanup. So instead of a blog post, again, this is a report. There might be a little bit of information that is quote unquote lost while you're changing item type. But in this case, I can, really quickly make that switch over to the Pew Research Center, clean up the date a little bit. But in this case, it did grab something like the URL, and it grabbed a snapshot and everything. If I do this, I can actually move attachments in between things. So again, we've got a snapshot of the web page that it's on. I can also drag the PDF from one parent to another. So now this item actually has 2 attachments, both the PDF of their full report as well as a snapshot. So again, there's multiple ways to kind of get things in here correctly so that you are able to cite them correctly. I scanned a PDF of a book, and now I want to add that in here. So when you are scanning books in, all it's doing on a PDF is it's creating basically kind of an image in a PDF file. So there really isn't any content here and metadata that can be scraped by Zotero. So what I would do is, again, I would right click and then hit create parent item. And in this case, I actually do have an ISBN for this book. So I'm going to go ahead and try to copy the text here. And it looks like I missed a 0. And we're going to try to create a parent item. And it worked. It came in, so I can go again back and forth in between the scan that I did, making sure that the title is correct. Again, maybe doing a little bit of editing if necessary, the date, ISBN, all of that good stuff. Because I actually have a physical or had a physical copy of this book, I don't need to have a DOI or URL, but it grabbed all that other information for me. Double checking as we go along is so important. I've been focusing on PDFs, but Zotero does handle at least one other file type pretty well, and I'll show you what happens if you try to upload a file type that it doesn't like. So the other file type that Zotero actually does handle is if you've saved a document or like a screenshot of a website as an HTML or HTML document. So in this case, I grabbed this snapshot from regulations.gov. And it does actually read it, and you can scroll in, and I can even open the attachment, and you would be able to go ahead and kind of see the web page. It's not great. So in this case, again, I would probably suggest going to the actual page I was looking at and using the connector to go ahead and try to grab this instead of uploading something like this. Lastly, I'm going to show you what happens when you have a file type that Zotero doesn't like. So maybe you've gone to a conference and the presenter has shared slides with you, and so you say, hey, I would like to cite this conference presentation later on. So I've got the PowerPoint file here. I'm going to copy this in. And you'll notice that there really isn't a lot of information here. We've got the title and the file name. If I try to click on this, it will open up because it's basically treating this as a linked file, so it opens it up on my computer, but it does not open it within the Zotero program itself. So the file is there, it's linked out, but I can't really do anything in here, and again, there's no citation information. So this is, again, one of those other times that I will need to create a parent item, and again, because there is no identifier, I'm going to need to do a manual entry. Instead of using just document type, I'm going to do something like a conference paper here with the title, and going back and forth in between this PowerPoint to grab things like the author, as well as, the conference name, the date. So this was March 19th, 2019. Anything else that I need to know about this. And again, if I'm able to link out to this with a DOI or a URL, either like to a conference page or anything else, I should do that. If you have any questions about this, please ask a librarian or see Zotero's documentation pages. And thank you for watching.